to the next part. We need to invite our next speaker, Mr. Shripad Shauche, Renishaw Metrology System Private Limited, Pune. Shripad sir joined?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, madam.
Yes.
My voice is audible? Yeah, thank you.
Voice is audible, sir.
Okay. So what I will do, I'll start off with the presentation. I'll try to switch off the video. Reason is to avoid the bandwidth problem.
Yes, sir. No problem. Please share your screen.
Yeah, just a minute. Okay, and my one more request is because being my screen is presentable, so I could not see the chat. So if you had any challenge in terms of not getting the proper sound, so please I'll request someone to stop me and raise the point.
Yes, sir. I will.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am. So before directly jumping on the Industry 4.0, first of all, I will say thanks to my previous speaker, Vijay sir has given a very good examples in terms of all the BMS.
Your slides are not visible, sir. Only the
slides are not. Thank you. Just a moment. Okay, now is it visible?
Not yet, sir. Yes. It is coming, sir.
Okay, yes. Thank you very much, ma'am. Yeah. So before directly jump on the Industry 4.0, I'll just thanks to Vijay sir, because he has given a very good example in terms of how all the latest technology is used even in the society level, even in the hotel level, or what all the applications. And before that, Mr. Suryamshi sir has given a very good explanation in terms of the IoT. So again, the topic is same, Industry 4.0, but in this now we'll talk more about the manufacturing industry. And before that, I am thankful to the DY Patil management, principal, vice principal, as well as all the HODs for giving us the opportunity to present the Industry 4.0. One more thing I would like to add in this session is that regular basis we are conducting this Industry 4.0 sessions, and I am happily announcing that already we have covered 3 to 4 sessions for the DY Patil students, and in that session was all put together 4 to 5 hours where we have tried our level best to show them machines or kind of industry environment, so that this will be beneficial for their academic as well as whenever they will go for the interview as well as for the next assignment. So it is beneficial. And apart from DY Patil, we have conducted similar sessions with all across the Pune various colleges, and my colleague Vinod basically coordinating this to develop the education industry as well as to develop the students and get the readiness in terms of the future requirement. So that's all about the background. So now Industry 4.0. Everyone is talking about Industry 4.0, but what really the Industry 4.0? Because everybody knows what really the Industry 4.0 is useful, but I just taking one more side, like industry, how they are utilizing this Industry 4.0. So if you see the total flow of this session, so first point is, okay, Industry 4.0, what really it means. It followed by what is existing traditional factory. Means now we are saying traditional factory because our sessions are now we are talking about modernization of the factory or the future factory. That's why we are calling today as a traditional factory. And then how basically the traditional factory works. Means who all are involved, what all are the roles of the different department, and what is today's scenario, and how the peoples are playing the role, and then followed up by the future factory, where all the each systems might be few of them was the same, but how their role is changing. And then after that, I am going through one examples, which is a live examples, how this Industry 4.0 achieved over the last 20-25 years, and how the other countries are doing with the video, so that it will give the more clarity to the students. And then we will talk about the additive manufacturing, which is now again one more buzzword or people are talking, and it's growing like anything. And then at the end, we will talk about how really this Industry 4.0 acceptance at various level, not only the factory, but plant, machine, as well as the individual instrument level. So that all is the total sessions. So, okay, starts with the industry 4.0. Now I think each and every student sitting in these sessions know what really the industry 4.0. So in a short, industry 1.0 was purely, we can say it's a mechanical kind of these things, where the steam engines and everything has played a major role. Then when we talk about the industry 2.0, so there mechanical along with the electric energy has played a role to increase the efficiency. In industry 3.0, basically the robotization has added, automations, that all activity has added, but it was again all put together the different roles. And now, okay, so we have achieved mechanical, electromechanical, as well as the automation, but still there is a scope of improvement, and that's why this industry 4.0, so we are calling this as a fourth revolution in the industry. Basically, industry 4.0, it's a German word, but all other countries, they are using it is at a different word. Like China, they are saying China 2025. So every industry, they talk it in a different way. But overall objective is how to make existing my setup or existing my manufacturing or whatever may be these things smart enough so that it will work on his own without having the manual control or manual intervention. And that's why they use the word the cyber physical. So next video will give the very good clarity how really the industry 4.0 and the trend has shifted. So if you see this video, in that basically whenever all the revolution like industry 1.0, 2.0, after doing that activity or after that revolution, the overall the output or the productivity has increased drastically, and that is basically the objective of having the revolution in the industry. And that's why now we have reached to the one level. Now from that one level to another level, if we need to move, then we need to have some different technology or some intelligence to cater the global needs. And if you see the global environment also, if I give the examples, even simple examples for the four-wheeler industry. So if you recall 20 to 30 years back, the situation is the vehicle might be the Maruti vehicle 800 was the vehicle very popular. So it was there in the industry or in the market for 10 years, 15 years, even Maruti 800 you will see now also. But now if you see the today's trend, every 6 months new vehicles is arriving. And then if you see the people test or people behavior also, they are buying this vehicle. Earlier, if anybody is buying the vehicle, normally the tenure will be 10 years, 20 years, so they are using. But nowadays maximum 4 to 5 years, because technology changing, they want the latest technology vehicle. So this is a simple example about the four-wheeler industry. And if you backtrack this, so how much big challenge for the four-wheeler industry to satisfy their consumer, because continuously R&D, continuously new things they need to come up to match the end user requirement. And behavior, consumer behavior also. Earlier, if I need to buy the vehicle, first I will do the survey, I will check with my references how really the behavior or how the performance of that vehicle, how the efficiency and all these things. Based on all this data, I am taking the final decision to go with this model. Now today, even the vehicle is not launched, just they are publishing the video or very attractive features and all these things, and based on that the booking is started. So that is nothing but a buyer's behavior change. And that's why to support this, all the industry. I've taken the example of automotive industry, but not only automotive, even the aerospace, medical, or even say the consumer durable, FMCG, every industry, they need to think continuously so that new innovations will happen and new technology or new features will come. And main thing is, okay, giving new feature, but to support with this to feature new features, they need to have that kind of the manufacturing facility. And that's why if we see where really this industry 4.0 potential implications will be there. So in that, just I mentioned the few points like robot assisted production. So that is one more area where now people are working because of challenges is getting the skilled resources. And it's not only the robot, but how to use the intelligent robot. And that's why the cobots and all other technology or this technologies people are using. Then one more area is quality oriented manufacturing. Why this quality is playing the major role? Because buyer's expectation. He want world class facility, world class finishing. Like if we buy the car also, we are not satisfied with only the performance or the mileage of the car, but we are looking toward the interior, smoothness, features, and everything. And to have that kind of smoothness, quality plays the major role, and that's why quality now becomes an integrated part in the manufacturing. Third area where it's playing the major role is 3D printing. I intentionally use the word the 3D printing because popularly it's called as additive manufacturing. But this additive manufacturing, people are using different terminology. So 3D printing or additive manufacturing for the complex part. So this is the one more area where it will affect in terms of the potential implications of industry 4.0. Then machines. Earlier machines are used only for the component cutting, but nowadays the expectation from the machine is machine will treat as a service provider. Means machine only will give all the data what is happening inside the machine, so that it's easy for the software to take the decisions. Then the other area is quality control, or we can say the instruments which is used for the measurement or which is used for doing the other activity. So data. Now today's world, data is playing the biggest role because data will tell you the trend of the manufacturing, data will tell you the reality. Without data, nothing is possible, and that's why all software industry and everyone is working on the data. And the final part is modularity. Why modularity? Today, I launch one vehicle. After 6 months, even we have seen a few model, it has come in the market and within a year time, it has vanished. So now if you see the effect of this, one vehicle launch, for that, all the component machining, sheet metals, die and mold, everything, people has done the investment. And suddenly after 1 year, and normally whenever any company do the investment, the calculation is the ROI will be 5 years, 6 years. But in this situations, it's very difficult. You don't know whether this model, not for car, bike, or any of these things, even our FMCG products or consumer durable products, we don't know what really the life will. And that's why everyone is thinking how to have my facility flexible. Means modularity. Modularity means same machine can produce this component if tomorrow change. So with a very small modification, I can adopt other component also, and that's why nowadays this modularity plays a major role. And if you see the conventionally also, early days people are using special purpose machine. Means that machine will do only that specific operation. But nowadays nobody want SPMs or special purpose machines because nobody knows what really the life is, life of the product is, and when we need to change. And that's why people are nowadays talking about a general purpose machine, so that if this component stops, so or if this model stops, so at least I can use the same infrastructure for the other models. So now we'll see, or the on the screen, the slide is there where I called traditional factory. It's not really the traditional factory. You can say it's today's factory, but now in today's session we are talking about the future factory, and that's why it becomes a traditional factory. And if you see why we are calling this as a traditional factory, so if you see here, okay, so now pointer is there. So if you see here, why we are calling this as a traditional factory, because see here 1, 2, 3, 4, so all put together 10 machines are there for the production. And this is wherever you go in any industry, you will find somewhat same overall the plant layout or the structure. And reason for highlighting is today's the audience is from first year to final year and from all the branches as well as all the professors are there. So try to make it more simpler so that it will be value additions as well as it will give you the clarity how really the industry works. So I'll put together 10 machines, few more machines are there for doing the product development. And if you see the total people, so to operate these 10 machines, 10 people as well as a quality control, there is 2 more CMM. CMM basically a coordinate measuring machines. So which is used to inspect the component to check whether it's in line with the drawing or not. What is the acceptance level that basically it's using. So if you see this at the factory, so 15 people are working in a one shift. Normally in India, most of the companies work in 3 shifts. So 15 into 3. So for this kind of size of industry, by directly seeing on the screen, so we need 45 peoples to run this industry along with the 2 CMM. Yes. And now if we see how really the industry work. So obviously the sales and marketing function is there. Normally they are going to their OEMs to get the order. Once they get order, they will give all the details to the process team. Process team will study what all components, what all machines are required, what will be the bought out item. Then process department will give that list to the purchase department. Then purchase department will identify, okay, I need to buy 5 machines. I need to buy this raw material from India, few raw material from the China, US, or whatever may be the country. So that basically the job of the material department. Then material department brings all these things and give it to the production department. Production person job is to load all the raw materials, tooling and everything on the machine and produce the component. So production people job is up to the production. Then quality people. So production person will produce the component, give it to the quality person. Quality person will check what was their OEM requirement, what our production people has manufactured. If it is matching, means product is quality approved. If it is there, then it will go for the dispatch section. And then dispatch store team are there who will do the necessary packing and dispatch the material to the respective department. And this all team is supported by the finance people. And to coordinate all these teams, IT function is there, which will manage all the data exchange by mail or whatever may be these things. Nowadays, people are using the SAP or ERP kind of systems to exchange this data. So this is, if you see the overall movement of the component from start to end. And in that, if you see who all are playing the major roles. So in that, major role will be played. If I am not getting the component as per quality, means major, the contributor, or if I say where all I am doing the major investment, so machine is playing the major role. And next slides we will talk about what really the machines we are expecting from the machines. Then the second is quality control functions. So from machine, if we are getting the component, quality control people will check on the quality and certify whether it is correct or not. Major factor which it's playing the major role in the existing factory is the person, because everywhere person role is very crucial, and he decides, and based on his skill set, basically the acceptance of quality as well as the production of quality is depend. That's why the person role is again getting very important. And the fourth part will be IT systems to exchange the data, because different people, different functions, different data, and always the data exchange is there. Without data exchange, it's not possible, but at manual level. So that is the role of the IT systems, or if I say the PC systems, software, or whatever may be the things we are using. And even in the traditional factories, many places, because I had worked with all India, all the major OEMs, automotive, aero, as well as their supply chain. So I had seen many places, robots are also integrated by replacing the man. But existing the mindset is robot is used only for loading, unloading. There is no much intelligence added. And few your example I had seen, robots is giving major contribution to produce scrap rather than produce right component. And reason is there is no intelligence. And that's why if you see now, we'll just see in a short how really everyone the expectation from the each individual. Like first, okay, we'll talk about machine. Machine, yes, early days it was tape-based machines or manual machines. Now that machine has shifted to the CNC machine. So CNC machines or CNC control we have added in the machines. Is it really means that now my machine is intelligent to take all the decision? No, because now the difference between these two is earlier machine was operated by the people. Now machine is operated by using a servo motor, and that servo motor is supported by a CNC controller, and where all the different softwares are there. Everyone is giving from their own expertise. Machine manufacturer normally Fanuc, Siemens, Mitsubishi, various controllers are there. Even PLC basis, Siemens and all this, they are playing the major role. So what really the expectation from the machine is to cut component as per instruction of operator. He don't know what really your requirement is, because input this machine is CNC program, component loading and tool loading, because without tool it will not cut the component load plays a major role, and then the final is operator. So if you see in today's world where all the control at present or existing control in the traditional or existing factory is to program. So you can control the program, loading, unloading of the tool as well as component is controlled. But if you see the internal part, whether the oil is finished, don't know, tool worn out, don't know, tool wear, don't know, machine is continuously on, but whether it's cutting a component or not, don't know. So many things are there where we have a control, but most of the thing is there which we don't have any control. And that part we will discuss in the next slides, where we are talking about the Industry 4.0 setup. Similar way, CMM, or I will say this is the pictorial view of the quality control, these things. So objective is to inspect the component as per the program mode. If you see everywhere, there is a limitations of person or program or whatever may be these things. There is no intelligence. So whatever the program, whatever the skill of the person, it will give you the output. So same instrument will give a very good output with the skilled person, and the same instrument even will not inspect the component because of the operator skill. And that's why if you see a different behavior is there, and you will find the different results from the same instruments by if you change the operator. And that's why few areas where you can run the program as per your instruction, that is the control, but you don't have, like this quality control room don't have control over the manufacturing, so that automatically you will get the right component from the machines. So some places control, some places not control, and that's why we were discussing how really this Industry 4.0 plays a major role and gives a contribution to improve the productivity. So we talk machine, their expectation, quality control as a CMM or whatever may the instrument, their control. Third major the role who is playing is the person. And at present, if you see, existing facility is fully controlled by the people everywhere. It is depend on the skill. I had seen many organizations, even just today the person is not available, and that's why they are not starting the production, or not, they are not completely fulfilling the requirement. So operator, if you define these things, so he is to perform work as per his wish or as per the instruction. His wish means behavior comes into picture, and instruction means manager role comes into picture. So who is best? If the person behavior is good, then automatically he will give you the better productivity, or the supervisor is good, then might be you will expect a very good productivity. But if both are not there, or if it is one is missing, you cannot have the control over the existing factory or existing facility. It's a purely skill based. If you are missing the skill, then you cannot expect the same level of quality. And why I am highlighting all this point is, now globalizations, export quality norms are very stringent, and even we have seen normally those who are doing the exports are doing 100% inspection. Reason is, if from that container single component rejected in Germany, whole container will get rejected, and it's a big loss. And that's why the skill dependency, people don't have the trust, and they are doing the 100% inspection. behavior plays a major role. We have done a various study, and in that first shift, second shift, third shift, even with the same people, same man hours, you will not get the same productivity. Always third shift or night shift challenges of productivity. And main thing is mistakes. Small mistakes will change everything. It will damage the machine, or it will damage the component, or it will even damage the impression. So that's why peoples are playing the major role in achieving the objectives. Then the fourth part, okay, already we are using the IT systems in existing manufacturing setup where the PCs are there, servers are there, softwares are there, but their main objective at present is the storage database, online programming, communications between the various departments, even directly transferring data. Levels we are doing database management to store all the data in the soft format, and many more applications which is at present used by the IT systems. And whenever we are talking about robot, it is not only the robot. Robot is again, you can say, machine which is work on the program. So yes, programs. So we will say it's intelligence of programs and everything. But those who are not intelligent enough to do the program. So many places robot is doing just a loading unloading work, and even where all the quality or manufacturing process is not in a better control, their robot is producing more scraps, more accidents, and that's why even in India. And we'll see the globally also, people are thinking how to adapt robot. Okay, welding, yes, people are acceptance level is very high because it's harsh environment. It's difficult for the people also in terms of temperature and everything. So there people are using, but repetitive work where the quality and all this part is not required. That's why welding. If you see any automotive company in the world as well as India, many places you will find now robot is doing the welding activity. Even vehicle assembly is the one more area where the automation or robotizations is playing the major role. But yes, robot people are still struggling to adapt in the manufacturing because of only this intelligence that we will discuss in the couple of slides. So now we understood what really the traditional factory and why we are calling this as the traditional factory, because being it's a 2 days, because we need to move further for the future factory. And when we talk about the future factory, what really the future factory means, or what really the industry 4.0 means. Whenever you are talking industry 4.0, there is no lower limit or upper limit. Means if I do all these kind of things, it means my factory is industry 4.0. No, every industry, even in India, they are exploring how to achieve the industry 4.0, and for that, how they are working. They are identifying where all the challenges in my existing factory, which is creating me a problem, or because of these challenges, I could not achieve the productivity level or the global requirement. And step by step, each industry is setting up a milestone to reach the desired level, and that's why the plan is made. So it's not things suddenly full factory automations and these things they are not doing. So they are, because investment and all this part is there. So slowly they are doing all this kind of activity. So now future factory. So if you see this factory, why really means why we call this as a future factory? So we will see what all are the variables, and who all are contributing in making this factory as a future factory. So now first point is, if you see the number of people, so 1 2 3 4 5 6. So machines, if you see, machine is automation line, only the one person is operating. Here the development work one person is doing, maintenance part one person is doing, and then here some activities going on, again the only one person. If you see the CMM room, only rather than 2 CMM, only the 1 CMM, so one person. So if you see, here are the dotted lines are there. This dotted lines means this machine is connected to the CMM, or this machines is internally connected to all these things. So for that purpose, to give the more clarity, these dotted lines are there. So data is moving from one place to another. So first major advantage, if you see last slide, traditional factory and this factory, if we consider, in terms of output and everything, if we convert this facility for the 10 machines operated by the 10 people, here the 3 machines operated by the 1 person. You might feel, no, I'm telling you something unimaginary or any of these things. After this slide, I will explain you a case story, live case story along with the video, so that you will also come to know how really it's possible and what all the things we need to do when we talk about the Industry 4.0. So first, major impact. People, very less people, and if you see in 3 shifts, if 1 person is operating, means what really the contribution from its side? Only software interlocks and everything. So 6 per shift. If you see the people, if it is running in a 3 shift, so max 12 people. Reason is many cases even 3rd shift it's not required, and that the word globally they are using it as a lights off facility, and whole 3rd shift all the factory lights off and everything is working. In Vijay sir's presentation also he has used this word. So lights off, it's Germany or other part of the world, it's possible. Even our factory UK, it works on the lights off. That's also I'll explain you how it works on the lights off part. So then next, machines. If you see earlier machines and these machines, it's the same machines. So what has changed? Machine is same, but now it has various are added in this. And now if you see in the industry, many companies are there who are providing the software in the machine, so the machine is giving directly the data to the server, whether full life is over, oil level has gone down, what all things required, everything machine is demanding to the server or to the people who is operating these things. And even machine will talk with the robots as well as the other system, so that everyone will jointly work among each other and do the parts. So robot, independent robot and robot connected in many places, robot is the master who drives everything. And in this robot software, we are adding lots of intelligence, so that robot will take the decision. Now give the command. If I collect the component, whether I need to keep it in the rejection bin or in the acceptance bin, when to give the instruction to the gauge, when to give the instruction to the CMM, when to give the instruction to the machine. So everything in a closed loop systems with exchange of the ideas and with decision making capability. CMM, additional word has added, gauging. Means CMM, because quantity reduced, so one, but if you see here, inside the cell, some systems are added. That is a gauging system. So earlier, machine will cut the component, will come to the CMM, then CMM will check after 2 hours, and then after 3 hours, report will go to the machines, and then direction. Till that time, in 3 hours, I might be the lost all the production. Avoid this. Inside the cell, inspector is there, but rather than manual, it's a person. Rather than person, it's a machine, and robot is operating these things. So whenever anyway, it will throw that data to the machines. A gauging system will inform machine stop or do these corrections to produce that component. So this cell or couple of machines will produce always 100%. Why? Because of exchange of data, exchange of all the systems. Then based on the process, the person who is designing these systems, he need to decide what all intelligence I need to add. And if you see here the software and the cockpit station, you intentionally showed it in a different area. Reason is, I will give you an example. Our Pune Tech Center. In this software, even we are seeing what our machines or demo center in China, demo center in US, UK, what really, how many hours it has worked, how many components it has checked. So now you see, now it becomes very simple, because one person who is in charge of all global tech center, by sitting in a one office, he can watch what is the utilization, what all you. So whether it is man dependent? No, because if you run the machine, automatically data in that software, and he will see what is the productivity, what is the performance and everything. And that's why this software cockpit station plays a major role. And here you are easily getting how really the performance is. And they put a CCTV camera. So early days, productivity was the problem. After that, they added the CCTV camera. So then operator come to know that someone is watching, and because of that, efficiency has gone second level. But they made it smartly. Now they are starting the machine, standing in front of machine, but they are not cutting the component. Then how to identify? This software will tell you whether only the spindle is working or total machine is working. So slowly, behaviors and everything, softwares are getting intelligent to have that decision making process. That's why this IoT and server plays a major role, what Surenshi sir has explained. So the data is coming, softwares and the systems are.
Hello, sir.
Yes, madam.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Your voice is cutting somewhat.
Okay, now it's clear?
It is clear, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So servers and IoTs plays a major role, and that's why if you see the today's session, intentionally the management has kept Industry 4.0, BMS as well as the IoTs, because it is a kind of integration and it plays a very important. And servers IoTs get all the data and pass it to the respective systems. Even like when I had given the examples of different departments, now the servers and everything on the even mobile apps I had seen the many places, you can directly see what is the today's production, what is the quality control data, how many it has dispatched. So now there is no manual interaction is required. Single systems, everyone will believe, otherwise one will produce one report, other department will produce the other report, and management will get confused. And that's why this plays a very important role, and that's why all systems in the factory, not only the machines, to the department, to talk to each other with the help of softwares and as well as the intelligence systems, so that the will be far easy and it's easy for to take the decision. So that is the various roles. And in the additive manufacturing part, but additive manufacturing also nowadays plays in the existing manufacturing setup. And as I told you, to give the confidence and to give the support, what I have discussed this to you, I'll give you a small example. Our UK facility, it's 40 years old. If you see our facility, we produce only high quality part. 50,000 is the variety. It's very difficult because it's all high tolerance, I mean, high quality parts with the help of people. And that's why over the period, now Industry 4.0, now we are talking, but over last 20 years, our people has done, because Europe's and all these things, these resources are very costly. Peoples are very costly, and that's why they always think how to make it automation. And from the European countries, automations, it's highly pushed. And if you see in the bottom, now 80 machines operated by the 10 people. So 1:8 ratio. So how we are achieving this? Because here, now the point I had mentioned, lights off, that also will give you the clarity. So this video will explain you what really we have the change. Because as Vijay sir has mentioned, the different sensors, everything. Sensors are playing the very important role, because for identifying each thing, sensor and that sensors are connected to the servers to throw the data. So with the help of sensors, with the help of some systems, automation agents, it is possible to have that Industry 4.0. So I'm just running this video. This is our facility, and that's why we are showing it openly.
Renishaw has first-hand process control expertise, which helps manufacturers worldwide apply high-level.
Madam, what is audible?
Yes, sir, but it's a bit low voice.
Gives our partners confidence that Renishaw technology
Yes, sir. Now it is nice.
Productive and cost-effective machining. Our technologies enable water control, critical for smart manufacturing. We develop products which solve key measurement challenges, like maintaining system accuracy without sacrifice. Because measurement speed can be critical to achieving high levels of throughput, Renishaw probing systems with multi-sensor capability capture data rapidly, reducing measuring time and providing actionable data more quickly. Renishaw equipment such as machine tool probes, gauging systems, and calibration devices provides the data that enables intelligent decision making. It It's important that metrology devices are easy to use, and the latest smartphone and CNC controller apps give users easy access to shop floor metrology. Manufacturers need the flexibility to repurpose equipment to accommodate shorter product life cycles and growing product mix. Renishaw devices are programmable, meaning they can accommodate changes to production processes and parts. This to production scenarios as processes are developed and proven.
So if you see in this video, who all are the major playing we make this factory as a smart is? One was the sensors, softwares, system connectivity, so that each one will talk to each other. And reason showing you a video is that now might be you feel your peoples are not there, but then because of this, are we creating an unemployment? No, that level of job requirement is getting changed. Earlier it was low skill. Now because of these things, now the job requirement is getting changed, and now people are talking about more intelligent or kind of software making or interlocks or sensors. That kind of requirement is getting changed. And to make any factory as an industry 4.0, the process will be first identify because of which element you are losing the productivity, or what are the challenges which are stopping the global world. And then based on that, you need to define the logics, what all I need to add so that my factory will be intelligent, so that my performance will improve, and I will make my customer happy. So that is, and that's why each industry or different for achieving the industry 4.0. So the last part I will cover on this is additive manufacturing. Why people talks or correlate with this industry 4.0 is earlier it was subtractive manufacturing. Now people start talking about additive manufacturing. Reason is early days this additive manufacturing, the challenges was it was restricted only for the R&Ds, but now it has shifted to the factory floor, means it has now entered in the production environment. Why this additive manufacturing? Means once only you start the button, it will produce, no need to do any manual work. And that's why normally the metal printing time is 10 hours, 12 hours. And if you see, recall the previous slide, future manufacturing zone, because that software person only is driving this. It is connected through the server, only load the powder, start the button, that's all. 12 hours or 12 hours, 15 hours, whatever may be the cycle time, you will get the component. That's why nowadays it has moved from the research lab to the factory floor. Earlier it was only used for the prototypes because various challenges were there. And this is applicable for the plastic as well as the metal. I intentionally show you to the metal because plastic additive manufacturing got matured. People are using popularly, even there the lots of even are giving the very cost-effective solution. Metal is now a challenge for the industry how to adapt it. So from prototypes, it has shifted to the series of the production. So to be specific, aerospace component, which are normally made up of the titanium, where the raw metal cost is very high, people directly producing from the additive manufacturing because of the various benefits like less material required, less rework, directly you can achieve. And the biggest advantage in the aerospace industry for the additive manufacturing is the weight reduction. So that is playing a major role. From time compression to the higher product performance. Like here, we have shown one example. So this is existing setup where it's a use of different elbows, might be the gas vent or maybe the fluid passage vent. So it's an example. If we use the existing technology, number of joints is give the proper flow passage because of everywhere the 90-degree part is there. Joints are there which will prone to the leak. That's why if you see the 3D printed component directly printed. So what has happened? Part consolidation. Earlier it was the assembly of 6 items. Now it becomes single one. Benefit, proper flowability as well as reduced number, and because of this, no leakage. Even after this seminar, you just go search on the YouTube. Renault has published a very good video where they manufactured one full vehicle printing. Earlier it was weight was somewhere around 400-450 kg with the joints or assembly of somewhere around 250-300 component. after 3D printing, they reduce the weight 400 to the somewhere around 350, and as well as they reduce the number of components from 250, this 350 to 150. So benefit here is weight reduction, and this is again a major role playing in the BS6 part also, which the automotive might be heard. Then one more part is shape to consistent qualified part. So if you see this kind of examples, this is the heat exchangers. So this is Hyta is the one global company who is manufacturing the heat exchanger. Old heat exchanger and the new heat exchanger, it has performance has drastically. Similar way, if you see this manifold, earlier manifold, this manifold, if you see the weight has reduced, material requirement has reduced, the performance has improved drastically. Then 3D printing to an integrated production process. So it is getting added. Globally, we have seen even some encoder companies. Earlier, they were giving the different encoder, mounting bracket and everything. So instead of doing lots of assembly at the single integrated part, the additive manufacturing, the benefits, auto, I will say in terms of the maturity, because replacement part, fast production and everything is a very good benefit what medical has achieved, and even ease of fitment of in the body or the comfortness in the body is playing the major role. Aero major area what people are talking is weight reduction as well as reducing the cost of component, being all it's a titanium and that kind of component. Die and mold industry, basically the application people are talking formal cooling, because heat exchange is the major area in the die mold industry. And in the auto sector, I will say the maturity level is not reached to that level. Reason is the component size as well as the volume. These two are the major challenges, but people are working on reducing the powder cost, making available various alloys so that the component cost will go down, and finding out the solution to increase the productivity of the machines. And that's why one machines with multi lasers are coming. So that I had covered in a short the what really and what all the benefits. So as a final summary, as the industry 4.0 is adopted at various levels. Means what it means. So what really we are saying, if it is a requirement in instrument, I'll just quote one example. I will not take that company. It is a very well-known company in the automotive field. So there in the shop floor, various single feature parameters inspection instrument were there, and their challenge was people is recording the data manually. How to get it centrally? So they think, and they made a very intelligent. All these systems are single instrument connected with the Wi-Fi. So now whenever operator is inspecting the component, automatically data is going to the server. So whether Industry 4.0 has restricted at the factory level? No. Based on your challenge, your requirement, you need to take the decision where all I want the intelligence and these things. And that data directly they are maintaining. One person is observing what this thing is going on. Second area, going further, individual machines. So now lots of softwares available in the industry. Even each machine manufacturers, they are giving this kind of softwares which will communicate. Even machine will tell you the information. Oil change, this has happened, inspection data, spindle RPM, per day I've run for 8 hours out of 12 hours, what really the productivity, everything machine. So machine become as a service. It is throwing all the data centrally by one place, you are getting all the data. And that's why people are coming up with the new software, and the software which is more powerful, it's giving the more data. So going in a bit broader way on a manufacturing side, where the multiple machines, robots, conveyor, gauging system. Yes, in this kind of these things, exchange of data among all the elements, share the data, take the decision. So people are adopting in the manufacturing as a, you can say the one cell level. Similar way, going further, people are giving the various software at the factory level. I'll just quote our example, our Shinzode facility, all the things like fire sensor, just a short example, all the fire sensors are connected to the one system. It's kind of plant software. Even our person is at home, he will get immediately the alarm, something has happened at this location, exactly these things. So that immediately from there, he's calling the security person, run there and do some corrective action. And because of this, the big accidents get avoided. And if you recently has seen in the Pune incidents, Verac factory, it's got fully burnt out. So it's big this thing, and that's why people are exploring all this kind of software to make even the factory intelligent, so that in a single click, I will get all the data. And the final part is going in a broader level, corporate level, multiple plants at multiple locations in the multiple countries. People are thinking of adopting this thing. So based on the requirement and based on application, people are using this all kind of data to take the decision making. So that's all from my side in terms of the Industry 4.0. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Yes, sir. We will take questions. I
Yeah.
request you, sir, to please switch on your video
Yeah.
for question answer session. Can
Yeah,
you,
yes,
sir?
ma'am. Yeah. Your video is on.
Yes, sir. We could
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for fabulous video presentation to show evolution of Industry 1.0 to 4.0. Also for the graphic presentation to show how machines are changing from Industry 1.0 to 4.0. It is indeed a knowledge shine day today instead of Sunday for us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Questions, sir. We have some questions. Sustainability in technology increased or not? From Rajesh ma'am.
Can you just repeat? Sustainability.
Sustainability in technology is getting decreased or not?
No, it's not really the sustainability in the technology, because now the expectation from the technology is getting higher and higher, and that's why our major role or people are working on making this technology intelligent, so that it will be reliable, and the technology even will give you the more data to have all this kind of intelligence to avoid the challenges because of the technology.
Yes, sir. Next question is from Sham Singh Thakur. What will be the roles of robots for MSME as MSME contributes 30% to Indian GDP?
Very good. It's strongly addressed in the industry also, because robot acceptance in the bigger, or I will say the corporate kind of industry, is nowadays people are thinking, but still the MSME level, it's a challenge. Reason MSME parts in terms of technology or in terms of the volume of quantity as well as the kind of instruments, they are struggling. So if I say that today's level, so robotization in the MSME parts, it big challenge, because at present I am talking this in the manufacturing part, because if you ask me if any MSME with welding or kind of assembly, so there it bit easy, but in terms of manufacturing, it's time. I will say next 2-3 years, once it is successfully adopted in the corporate level, then might be the acceptance or the adaptability in the MSME will comes into picture. But yes, it is a requirement, and we need to think how the softwares or the how systems should be make more flexible and intelligent, so that it is get adapted in the bottom level as well.
Yes, thank you, sir. Probably the last question. Industry 4.0 revolution, does it benefits in small scale production industry? If so, can we compensate with cost expenses done on product? From Sachin Marzapuri.
Yeah, it's again very good questions from Sachin. It's possible, and it's, I will say, the future need. Reason, okay, I'll just try to correlate. See, normally the small factories or MSME or the what the Sachin has mentioned, the challenge is they cannot commit the consistency and the quality because of only the people dependency. Because see, corporate levels, they are paying a very good salary. That's why the real skill is not coming to the smaller factory level, and there they are majorly facing the challenges. Because if you see the today's culture, I will take the examples of Bajaj Auto. Bajaj Auto is not now interested in cutting the component. What they are saying, even if you heard the Rajiv Bajaj sir interview, he is mainly working about the profitability and productivity. And for that, what he is doing, all the vendors, you cut the component, because there is not much profit. So you cut the component, I will only produce the vehicle. So this all component cutting is passing on to the smaller industry, and smaller industry, they are facing the bigger challenge in terms of the people and achieving that requirement. And that's why even corporate people are supporting to the smaller industry to use this kind of system so that they will get the right component, because finally small sector is supplying the components to the OEM, and even OEMs are also worrying because nowadays they are getting this thing. So obviously the adaptability and acceptance will be there, but cost is the major impact. And I think for that now the new technology, so slowly it's moving toward that. I think Sachin's whether it's your question is get answered.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Over to you, Malti ma'am.
Thank you, Aarti. Sir, I'm so thankful to you. You have given a very nice presentation about Industry 4.0, and you have given very practical aspects what's going on there in your industry. And the excellent inputs you have given by you will be taken by all the participants. They will be definitely trying to implement RLs. At least they will be making some attempt to visit your factory and see what's happening over there. And you have given a very excellent presentation today. And the way in which you have presented your case study, it is really tremendous. It's really, I should appreciate your efforts, whatever you have taken so far in presenting Industry 4.0, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your presentation. I have one question for you. What kind of hardware research is going on in Renishaw?
Thank you very much, madam, and it's a very good point. Actually, if you see the Renishaw, our tagline is Apply Innovations, and we put 15% of revenue in the R&D, and that's why every year we are coming up with the new technology. So I just, in a short, I'll brief. In terms of additive manufacturing, we are developing a new machines because the requirement from the industry is getting changed. So early days we launched single laser machines. Now we are giving the 4 laser, 6 laser machines to increase the productivity. That is from the additive manufacturing side. Even from where all the we are developing the new softwares to have that global platforms for the Industry 4.0, as well as producing the new sensors. Early days CMMs only used for coordinate checking. So now we launched the CMM, so that CMM is doing the coordinate. Also, it's doing the vision. Also, it's doing the surface finish. Also, it's doing the fringe, so that a single systems can give the multiple applications. And even from the software side, mainly software side, we are working how to make app-based softwares, because people want a simple software in the shop floor or any place operator can use and run. So software side, hardware side, as well as the overall technology side, we are doing a lot. And I'll request you, because once again, I'll request you, all the DY Patil management, we are regularly conducting this kind of sessions. Our Vinod is coordinating. I will share his mail also. So you 30 batch regular every month, so that it is good, because we are the people who need to develop the students to survive in the requirement, and we need to make them capable to work in the globalization. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Over to Aarti.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Principal sir had joined us. Over to principal sir. Sir, unmute your audio.
Thank you, Aarti, and thank you, Malti madam. I was, stuck up somewhere, and hence I could not be the part. But Shripad's the explanation and explorations with respect to the 3D printing and the technology was awesome. And I know that the future era of the 4.0 onward, even 5.0, the scope and the market for this 3D printing is very high. I expect that the conscious collaborations with the DY Patil College of Engineering. I know that some of our faculty members, Dr. Jatip, Dr. Day, Dr. Vinay Kulkarni from the Mechanical Engineering Department, they are absolutely working into this additive manufacturing. But the kind of the machines and the versions which are required to create the new object, we were expecting that some of this the parts which is required for the hospital, specifically for the orthopedic surgeons, and creating the joints also. We are thinking to create some of the parts which is required for the hospital, and huge amount of the orders are there. Sripad, if you can be the part of this particular missions, I am sure that joint collaborative, the active engagement with to give the some solutions to this company, I think that DYPC will be very happy. And thank you very much, Aarti, that you have given me the opportunity at the last minute. But I could finish my works, and that's why I could join it. Thank you very much. All the best.
Yeah, thank you very much.